Welcome to class 49. This is Scolio-Pilates at home, and today is Why Spines. We've been devoting the whole month to not April Fools, but something wise about our spine, we started with what did we start with this month? Breathing. We started with breathing, and we've been moving our way through the spine, and this week is focus on why spines. So when we're talking about the wisdom in our body, we're talking quite a bit about what does our body know how to do naturally, not what can we force, what shape can we force our bodies into, but instead, how do we access what our body does naturally? And of course, we started that with the breathing and understanding how the diaphragm works. And we're going to continue with that today. And how do we tap into the nervous system in a way that is speaking our body's language, as opposed to, again, trying to force, a round or a square peg into a round hole type of thing. All right, everyone. So here we go. Let's take the hands down by our sides. And we'll start with that wise breathing that we started this whole month with. And with that wise breathing, what I'd like you to do is take the smallest of inhales. And then when you exhale, I want the arms to reach down towards the floor. They're going to make a tent on the floor, and you're going to try to put space in between the vertebrae as your head climbs up to the sky. Good work, everyone. And again, inhale. As you inhale, the ribs are going to expand, and you're going to grow that space between the ribs. Good. And then exhale. You're going to put space between the vertebrae now. On the inhale, we put space between the ribs. And then on the exhale, space between the vertebrae. Continue your exhale as long as you can. And then when you need to inhale, then you inhale. And then you're not asking for the inhale, it's free, it just happens. And then we exhale and the arms go down and you put space between the vertebrae and you lengthen the spine. And exhale, continue the exhale. And here we go, inhaling, space between the vertebrae. Go ahead and continue the float up of the arms. The arms are going to float all the way up to the sky here. And once we reach that spot, bear with me, everybody. Oh my goodness. Okay. Oops, there it is. Once we come all the way up, you have a choice of stopping you should definitely stop where your arms are comfortable, or you can go a little higher if your shoulders allow. You can clasp your hands and push your hands to the ceiling. Either way, what we're trying to do is we're trying to take the shoulders up closer to the ears so we get the weight of the shoulder girdle off of the spine. So keep your arms in your upward position just for a moment. I'm going to take mine down to share this with you. I'm trying to take this weight of my shoulder girdle off of the spine. So if your shoulders don't allow you to go with your arms above them, you can still do this here. Or here is a little bit easier. Here is easier because it just helps you get that weight off better. So here we are. Inhale, space between the vertebrae. Nice work, everyone. Now, once you're here, give this a little rock and roll. A little wiggle here. And then again, inhaling, space between the ribs. Exhaling, feel that space between the vertebrae. Just a little bit of a wiggle. Last time, inhale, open, open, open. And then exhale, release the hands. As you come down, try to keep that space between the vertebrae. Don't let the weight of the shoulders sit down on the spine in a way that takes you back to that curve. Keep that length. Good. Take your hand And on the side of your tide pool, so my left side is the side of my tide pool, and I'm going to place my hand, I'm going to cup my thumb to the back and my fingers to the side here. Okay, and I'm going to take another breath, and I'm going to push my ribs into my hand as if I'm trying to create space for my hand to just slide between the ribs. So it's going to go like this. Inhale, open those ribs into the hand, really pressing those ribs away. This is the side of my rib tide pool. Exhale, try to keep it open. And while you exhale, your stomach comes in and your head goes to the sky. Okay, so let's talk about that again. You're going to inhale, open up the space into that hand on the side of your tide pool. When you exhale, keep that space open. Your contraction comes from your abdominal, and you reach your head to the sky. It's not easy. Again, inhale, open this space. Exhale, see if you can keep it there. And the exhale happens at the abdomen and through the top of the head. Good. Hands down on the knees and give this a wiggle. Those of you who are not very comfortable seated on the floor, please grab yourself a chair or a yoga block. I've been wanting to teach a class for a while now that's on a chair because there's lots and lots of benefits to being on the chair. But since that's not today, please jump onto a chair. Please jump onto, the edge of a fireplace, anything. A harder surface will definitely be better here. Okay, so the wisdom in the spine that we want to talk about today is that space that already exists there. We already have space between our spine. Our bones are not like crunching down on each other, and we just want to expand that space. And we especially want to expand that space on the side of our tide pools. And for me, I have tide pools here in my upper back on the left and tide pools in my lower back on the right. And we'll talk about those lower back tide pools in just a moment. But for now, let's take one more exercise here. On the side of your tide pool, that's my left, that arm is going to go up to the ceiling. And the other arm is going to go straight towards me, all right? So from here, you're going to inhale and reach. If the arm doesn't want to go here, make sure you keep the hand down and you can just lift that shoulder, okay? And that's fine. So you're going to reach on the inhale. Keep this space open. Do you see how this bra strap is like trying to reach up into my left? That's the idea. And then we're going to exhale, open the arm on the side of the sand dune. Here's my imaginary sunshine sticker. And as I open that arm, it comes towards you. It is not easy. Let's try that again, but let's give it a break. We're going to do it twice more here, kind of floating in the air in the middle of the room. And then we're going to back this up and try it against the wall. So just bear with me and see what you can feel here and be really easy on yourself. Okay, so the arm on the side of the tide pool reaches for the sky. Open those ribs on the side of the body. And then take the arm forward. Let's stop for a moment, inhaling. Open the ribs, exhale, open the sunshine. So this is my sand dune arm. As I take that arm back, my sand dune comes towards you. I have an imaginary sunshine that also opens up towards you. Good, let's take both arms down right here. Inhale. And exhale. Nice work, everyone. Inhale. Whoops, let's bring the arms here. Just give it a wiggle. We'll start the breath over. Inhale. And exhale. Give it a wiggle. Last time. I know this is way more than two. Inhale. And exhale. Sunshine forward. Keep the ribs opening on the side of the tide pool. Good job, everyone. Nice little wiggle. And then back this up to a wall. And then in a moment, we'll also do it on the floor. So wherever you're comfortable, you could use the sofa right now. Just use something for now, and then if you need to later on, you can back it up to a doorway. Brr. Cold. Okay, from here, both arms in front. And then inhale, the arm on the side of the tide pole. Exhale, the sunshine comes forward. Good. Give it a wiggle. We'll do quite a few more. I know some of you are still trying to find that wall. So no worries, no stress. Inhaling, open the ribs. If the shoulder doesn't go up, you're just leaving the arm down and carrying the shoulder itself, not the arm. And then opening, exhaling, sunshine forward. Now, when you take the sunshine forward and you're back against the wall, you should feel that sand dune. You might feel that sand dune come away from the wall a little bit as that arm opens. Come back to center. Give it a little wiggle. You start with your sand dune on the wall and your arms in front of you. Inhaling, open these ribs. Exhaling, sand dune comes away from the wall. Keep lifting here. Good. Little wiggle. We'll do 3 more of these. Take it easy on yourself. If you need a break, just sit 1 or 2 reps out. Inhaling, open the ribs. Exhaling, sand dune off the wall. My hand is not touching the wall here, by the way. It's just coming back enough for me to get my sand dune off. Back to center. We have 2 more. And inhaling, open, open, open. Exhaling, sand dune forward. Good. Give it a wiggle. And last time. Inhaling. Exhaling. Sand dune forward. Stay here. Inhale, reaching. Exhale. Sand dune forward. Twice more. Inhale, reaching. Exhale, sand dune forward. Last time. Inhale, reaching. Exhale, sand dune forward. Good job, everyone. Hands on the knees and give that a little shake. All right. From here, what I'd like to do is give the seated position a little break, and let's go down onto our backs for a moment. Bring your band and bring your wedges if you have them. If you don't have a band, I have my sweatshirt. You can grab a t-shirt. And I can show you how to do that with that as well, which is helpful because, you know, you might be traveling and you might not have brought your band. I usually take my band everywhere, but I don't always remember. And then I leave my band and wedges at key places like my parents' house. I have my own set there. All right, so down we go. And we're gonna wedge up to start here. I'm using the fit wedges. If you don't have any wedges at all, don't worry about it. It's not necessary. You'll have them when you're ready or when you like to have them, but it just will be elongated and that will be perfect. So as the general, big fat general rule here, these wedges go underneath those sand dunes. Okay, so I'm gonna pop those in gently. I don't push them in very far at all. They're a nudge, not a kick in my back. Okay, so they're just a nudge. From here, I'm gonna take my arms to the sky and I'm gonna seaweed my arms to the right. And I'm gonna seaweed my arms to the left. And I'm gonna seaweed and I'm gonna seaweed. So I'm just trying to, after what we just did, I'm just trying to get those shoulders to settle a little bit. So they're not hyper contracting on me. You don't want them hyperactive here. Now from here, I'm going to touch my fingers to a cloud, and then I'm going to not drop with gravity because that would be super fast and jarring. So instead, I'm going to counter gravity on the way down. My shoulders go down very slowly, and I stop when I'm about 3/4 of the way down. So I don't want my shoulders all the way on the mat because if I were sitting up, they would also be in my ears. So I'm not going to do that. Touch a cloud. And then from here, we
Don't allow gravity to take our shoulders. We work slightly against gravity until we're about 3/4 down. So it's supported, it's just not completely dropped. And then touch a cloud, reaching up and then dropping down. We have 2 more. Reaching up and dropping down. Last time, reaching up and dropping down. Okay, from here, let's take our superhero stance. We're gonna straighten one leg. It's gonna go to the edge of the mat, and the other leg also goes to the edge of the mat. You're going to tuck your glutes under. If you need to lift up a little bit, lift up so those glutes can contract. It's not a hyper contraction. You're not lifting off of the mat here, but they also can't be allowed to just ooze out to the sides of the mat like they're on vacation, because we're not right now. Hopefully you will be soon. Okay, from here, I'm going to take my arms up and reach for the cloud, reach through the heels, and then in this position, I'm going to inhale, and I'm going to push the hand on the side of my tide pool towards the ceiling. And what that does is it pushes my tide pool towards the floor. I exhale and I open the other arm towards the floor so that the sunshine opens. And then I come back and I seaweed it out. I inhale, I push through the heels, I push through the hand on the side of the tide pool. I exhale, I open the arm on the side of the sand dune, sunshine forward. I seaweed it out. Inhale, feet and hand, tide pool into the mat. Exhale, sand dune forward. Good job, everybody. Seaweed it out. Inhale, feet and hand, tide pool into the mat. Exhale, open, and that rib comes away from the mat on the side of the sand dune. Let's do one more just for good luck. Seaweed. Inhale, push the heels and the hand. Exhale, sand dune to the sky. Good. And then give it a little seaweed. All right, from here, hands go behind your head. You're going to put imaginary shoes on the back of your shoulder blades. So your favorite shoes, they might be hiking boots, they might be stilettos, they might be whatever your favorite shoes are. And you're gonna put those shoes underneath your shoulder blades, and you're gonna walk your shoulders away from your hips. So just go for a little walk here. Deep, da 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 da. We need good walking music. Where's our opera singer? So here we go. Keep walking. 4 and 3 and 2 and 1. Rest your head down on your hands. You're going to flex through the heels. Don't take your heels off of the floor like I was. That puts you in a locked or a hyperextended position. Your heels should be on the floor here. Okay, from here, I want you to seaweed your neck. So your head is actually resting in your hands here. Your head is like back on the hands, not lifting through these muscles. These shouldn't be working at all. So the head presses gently into the hands, and then your neck wiggles itself loose. Okay, a little seaweed here. You don't have to make this symmetrical. You don't even have to try to. Just wiggle your neck wherever it feels like going. It's not like we're going right and left and up and down. It's just kind of like imagining you're underwater and your neck is going where your neck feels like going, and then head down. Let's do 4 little walks with our shoulder shoes. And so 1, 2, 3, and 4. Push through your heels, and you've got a seaweed neck going on. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Again, shoe walk. So shoes, 4, 3, 2, 1. Seaweed neck. 4, 3. Just go whatever direction feels good. And here we go again. 4, 3, 2, 1, and seaweed. 3 and 2 and 1. Last time. Shoes. 4, 3 and 2 and 1, and seaweed. Da, dee, dee, da, da. Hands on the hips, bend the knees, and give this a little bit of a wiggle right here. Okay. We're going to talk about the shoes on the shoulders just a little bit more, and I'm going to turn my other side towards you so you can see my tide pool side. So we'll go this way. Okay, so remember when we were seated and we took that hand up and we opened those ribs, and it was very easy, maybe, to think about opening the ribs this way. Maybe they didn't open as well as we'd like them to, but it's easier to think about this lateral side of the body opening up. And the thing about the shoes on the back is that we also want the ribs to open back here. All right, so we're opening here on the tide pool, and we want to open here on the tide pool. And if I put little shoes on my shoulder blades here, see if this will work, and I open up that shoe towards my head, then it's going to open the ribs on the mat behind me. Make perfect sense? Clear as mud? Okay, let's try it. Maybe it'll make sense in your body once we actually do it again. So we'll do the same thing we did before, except I really want to focus on your tide pool side. Okay, so take that hand up to the sky. Take your superhero legs. You're standing on Mars and you're looking down towards the earth, or maybe you're on the moon looking towards the earth, but you're standing in your power stance. You push through the heels, but the heels stay on the floor. Don't hyperextend or lock those knees out. Let's start with the hand on the side of the tide pool only on the sky, okay? And then put your little shoe, not little shoe, put your powerful shoe, your red stiletto, your massive hiking boot on that shoulder, and you're going to walk that shoulder away from the hip. And here we go again. Walk that shoulder away from the hip. It's okay to feel like the neck, or sorry, that the shoulder's coming closer to the ear for a moment. Walk that shoe away. 3 more. Walk it away. Twice more. D, da, da, da. Twice more. D, da, da, da. And last time. D, da, da, da. Okay, let's take the other arm up. And that hand is now going to go right back down, and it's going to go on the opposite hip to where your shoe is. You've got your shoe on your tide pool side. Put the opposite hip down towards the floor. Just give it a little bit of pressure. There shouldn't be any discomfort here. Lift your hips and tuck your glutes if you need to. Put your shoe back on your shoulder blade. Press the hip down, and here we go. Take that shoulder blade for a walk. Open up the ribs. Inhale. Open up the ribs. Exhaling, hip goes down. Inhale, go for a walk. Exhale, keep the ribs down. Drop the hip towards the floor. Twice more. Inhale, go for a walk. Exhale, the opposite hip goes down. Last time. Inhale, go for a walk, and put the opposite hip down. Good work, everyone. And let's just kind of bebop the legs. Did anybody else's mother teach them to dance? I think of my mother when I do this. She used to get us at about 7:15 in the morning. She was a morning person, is a morning person. And then rock yourself up to sitting. So before we were awake and could argue. All right, so from here, I should put my glasses on to see if we're actually in focus. Okay, we are somewhat in focus. Let's go on to, we're gonna do 1 or 2 things here. You have an option of going onto your knees for this next exercise, but if your knees are not happy, then I would prefer that you were on a chair, okay? So either one. So when I go onto my knees here, I am going to be here on my knees. I have a really thick mat here. It might not look like it, but it's about 1 centimeter or a 1/2 inch-ish thick. And then in this position, I also have a chair, and I'm going to show you how to do this on a chair as well. So either one is going to work fabulously. From here, let's start with our hip magnets that we focused on last month.
And so go ahead and squeeze the hips together. And when you do this, look at your video and make sure that you are zipped. Your stomach from the pelvis up to the first ribs is hugging the spine. So pull back just a little bit more here in those low abs. Okay, so again, inhale, exhale, use your hands for just a moment and pull the abs to hug the spine. Good. Inhale, hip magnets. Exhale, the stomach hugs the spine. Let's do that once more. Inhale, hip magnets. Exhale, the stomach hugs the spine. Okay, from here, what I'd like you to do is we're going to try a little muscle cylinder here. This will be our challenge for the day. It's a little bit tough. It's easier on a chair. And so you're going to take the leg that's on the side of your low back tie pull. Remember I said we were going to talk about that low back tie pull? Here we go. So the leg that's on the low back tie pull is going to become your standing leg. Okay, and so you're going to just shift your weight onto that leg a little bit more than the other. So this one, I can just kind of like go doop and put that leg out there like a kickstand. This is my opposite leg of my tie pull. Tie pull on the right, kickstand on the left, and I'm going to go boop, and I'm going to come over here onto my right leg. So it's my standing leg now, and then come back. Okay, so again, I'm going to kickstand and stand on my standing leg. Now, once I'm here, this hip that's on the side of my tie pull, I'm going to drive it into the floor. So it's like I'm standing taller now on this leg, on the leg on the side of my tie pull. Come back and give it a little wiggle. We're going to do that once more, and then I'm going to grab the chair, okay? So take your kickstand out, hands on the hip, over you go. Push the hip down on the side of the tie pull. Good, everyone. Let me do it once more just so you have it for your memory, so you can practice that while I'm getting my chair. You're going to go deep and up and pushing down. Okay? Keep trying that. Every time, come back and give it a little wiggle. And I'm going to do the same thing with the chair. So let me have a moment here. Grab my chair. And it is a hard chair. If you only have the sofa there with you at the moment, that will work just fine for a moment. And I am going to do exactly what everyone is doing as you're seated. I'm going to kickstand. So this is the side of my low back sand dune, and I'm going to push myself onto the side of my tie pull, my low back tie pull. I come back and I give it a little wiggle, okay? Nice job. Take your kickstand out. So this is forward towards you. I take it out a little bit. It doesn't have to go over here. So just a little bit of a kickstand. I'm going to press into my thigh, and I'm going to stand on the hip that's on the side of my low back tie pull. And I'm going to push down. Hands can go on the hips, and I'm going to super push down on this side of my tie pull. Good job, everyone. Give it a little wiggle. Good job. And here goes my kickstand. Here goes my standing position. So now I'm standing on this hip, and I'm going to push through that hip. I'm going to stay here. I'm going to inhale. I'm going to exhale. I'm going to hug my stomach to my spine. The spine goes to an imaginary river that's flowing up my back and lifting me to the sky. And give it a little wiggle. Good job, everyone. Good, good, good. Kickstand. And standing. And pushing. Nice work. Really nice work. And hold this. Inhale. Let's take the arm on the side of the tie pull. Up, 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 up. If your arm doesn't like to go up, 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 just bring those ribs open. There it goes. And back to center. All right, we'll do this twice more with the upper body added. Kickstand, standing leg, push the standing leg into the chair, open the arm, Stay there. If you're not opening the arm, open the ribs. Inhale, open the ribs. Exhale, stay there and come back. All right, whew, it's a lot of work. Last time. Kickstand, standing leg. Push through the hip. And open the top arm. Inhale. And exhale. Good job. And give it a wiggle. That's awesome. We really need to do a chair class. It just makes everything some exercises just make so much more sense on the chair. Okay, everyone, come back to the floor for just a moment. Not just a moment, a little bit longer. And for the spine, we're definitely going to focus on the K-wedge today, but I think we should do one more thing. I've got it on my list here that I'd like to do before we get there. And what we're going to do is standing using the wall. So I'm going to move the camera just a smidge and get us set up here. Okay, so you can use, as your wall, you can use a sofa, you can use a door, and we're going to be lying down and we're going to put our feet on the wall. We've done something like this in the past if you've joined me before. And we'll grab our band and our wedges and my sweatshirt so I can show you that variation too. All right, so I've got quite a floorboard here. I'd say it's a good 5 inches off of the floor. Oops, somebody fell out of the meeting. And that's okay. It's about 5 inches off, but it's okay. I would love it to be a little lower, but it's okay. We'll use it. So my feet go on that wall here. I'm going to pop my wedges in there and over here. And we're going to start with tucking the glutes, just so we know they're working and not going on a vacation down there. It takes a little bit of time for me to find the right position for my legs here. There. Now I feel like my hips can contract gently at maybe like 25% effort. And I feel like my abdominals can work towards my spine. My feet are going to be slightly turned out. This is my superhero stance. And then once I have my legs firmly in the wall, I'm going to seaweed my arms. And then I'm going to take my hands behind my head. And I'm going to put my shoes back on my scapula, on my shoulder blades, and walk them away. Good. And then the arms go to the sky. I open the arm on the side of the sand dune, and the arm that's on the side of the tide pool comes across. And if you go across slowly, you may feel how those ribs love to open up into the mat here, and that's what we're after, okay? So open across the body, 3 more times, 3. Keep the glutes quite slightly squeezing, and across, and across, and last time, and across. All right, so starting with the sweatshirt, you can use your band if you have it. But in case you don't have it one day, I wanted you to know how to do this. So from here, I am going to pull my arm down on the side of my sand dune. So it's going to go across. And I'm just going to use my sweatshirt as something to push against. So I can push my hand up to the sky here and get those ribs back into the floor. So I wiggle. I can walk my shoulders away from my hips. I inhale, I elongate. I exhale, I open the arm on the side of the sand dune. I inhale, I push my hand to the sky. I'll do it one more time with the sweatshirt. You can be doing the same exact thing with your band. So I'm gonna wiggle, seaweed, and then I can walk my shoulders away, squeeze my glutes, push both heels, make sure that both your big toe knuckle and your little toe knuckle are on the floor, on the wall there. Make sure that you're not like rolled one direction or another. And I'm gonna open the arm on the side of my sand dune. That sand dune goes to the sky. I push my hand towards the sky. I inhale. I open the ribs. And I exhale and I stay. Okay, let's do just 2 more. I'll grab my band.
So from here, inhaling, reach both arms. Exhale, open the hand on the side of the sand dune. Or sorry, did I say inhale? I meant exhale. Inhale, the hand goes to the sky, the hand on the side of the tide pool. That's the concavity. Seaweed it out, walk your shoulder blades away, and here we go. Inhale, push both arms. Exhale, open the arm on the side of the sand dune. Sand dune comes off the floor, or maybe not really, but that's the intention. Inhale, push the opposite hand towards the sky. Ribs go to the mat. Good job, everyone. Last time, seaweed it out. Here we go. Hands on the sky. And exhaling, sand dune. Inhale, we push. Good job. Stay here. And then from here, I want you to push your heels into the wall and then walk your feet a little closer together, okay? Now remember the hip that we were sitting on just a moment ago, the one we were leaning over, whether you were on your knees or on the chair? That foot is gonna stay on the floor wall, and the other leg is gonna come off, okay? So now push that heel towards the wall. So we're getting long on that side of our body. Make sure that that hip is staying level with the other hip. So the moment I let this leg off the wall, the moment I took it off, this hip tried to touch the sky. So I have to make sure it stays down, and I have to grab pretty good with my abs here. I'm not trying to flatten my back into the floor. I'm trying to grab my spine with my stomach muscles. They're trying to hug. Yum, yum, yum. Okay, so that hip stays down. I push through that leg. My hand goes on that hip, and I push through that leg even a little bit more. So I'm going to hold that, and I need to wiggle because it's getting a little bit crunchy in my upper back. So I'm going to wiggle things out here. I'm going to seaweed my head. I'm going to walk my shoulders away. I'm going to put my hands behind my head, lift and elongate my head just a 0.5 centimeter away from the wall, away from my hips. I take my hand back on my hip. I'm going to leave one hand behind my head. I push that leg towards the wall. You might feel your hips changing position here, and that's okay. Squeeze the glutes a little bit and walk the shoulder, the hand that's behind the head, put a shoe on that shoulder and walk it away. Push the hip away, walk the shoulder away. Push the hip away, walk the shoulder away. Twice more. Push the hip away, walk the shoulder away. Last time. Push the hip away, walk the shoulder away. Good job, everyone. That goes down. Woo. And a little bebop. A little bebop here. Okay. Good job, everyone. And then go ahead and rock yourself up to sitting or roll to one side and come up to sitting. We're going to start with the prayer pose or the child's pose. I'm trying to let somebody in here, but this is not allowing me to do it. And from that position, we're going to, so you're on all fours here. Okay. So from here, your fingers are out from the shoulders, and you're going to reach your hips back towards your heels. As you do this, don't allow the stomach to drop on the thighs. The stomach stays lifted all the way from the pelvis up to the ribs. And then we come forward again. And again, back you go. Reaching the hips back. And then coming forward again. And then reaching the hips back. Stay here. Inhale, open the ribs on the side of the tide pool. Exhale, nice and long. Last time, inhale, open the ribs on the side of the tide pool. Exhale, nice and long.
Okay, everyone. Now we can grab either the towel that you have there or the K-wedge, all right? So if you have the K-wedge, then that's easy. You're just gonna pop that down. If you have the towel, I'm gonna start on the K-wedge, but I'm going to move to the towel. I actually grabbed my great-grandmother made this Afghan, so I grabbed that today. So you're gonna fold that towel up until it's about, this is a little too wide, but you wanted it about 6 inches wide, 8 at the very most, which this is about 8 inches wide. Okay, I'll pull that back in just a moment. From here, I'll just put myself on a little bit of a diagonal. And keep your band handy. We are not going to start with the wedges, but we'll grab them in a moment as well, okay? So wedges out to the sides, and your hips, if you're using the towel, your hips are on the towel. And if you're on the wedge, of course, your hips are up here. And from here, you're going to cozy yourself down onto the floor, looking straight down at your hands. Rest your head on your hands. Give yourself a little wiggle in the hips. Give yourself a little wiggle in the shoulders. And you might have felt yourself grow through the spine an extra inch here. As you wiggle things out, things let go, and you can get a little taller here. So just wiggle to length, find your length. And then from here, I want you to squeeze the heels together. If they don't squeeze together and this position is not comfortable, then just take your feet apart to where they are comfortable and then isometrically give a little squeeze here. We'll start with this frog position. And then we're gonna start with the arms at 90 degrees. And I think I need to back my camera up a little bit on myself so you can see a little better. Okay, there we go. Okay, so from here, in this position, I'm gonna squeeze my heels. My arms are at 90, so I'm in this kind of frog position. And then I'm gonna lengthen everything out to my letter X here. So everything was short, and now everything is long. And then I come back, it's kind of like one of those puppets, you know, that kind of goes in and out. So the puppet comes in. As the arms come in, the head reaches away. And then as you go out, everything reaches away. I walk my fingers away, I walk my legs away. If you have the K-fit wedge, you can attach the leg springs and you can grab the band while you're doing this. I recommend doing 3 or 4 without that and then adding those back in. So you've got this puppet going back and forth here. And then reaching and then coming back in. Okay, now take the legs a little bit apart. So even if you have them together, they are going to come a little bit apart here. And then you're going to grab your band. And again, we're going to grab the, we will use the wedges in a moment, but not just yet. Okay, so I have my band over my head. And my arms are in my reaching position. My heels are just gently touching or they're apart here. From here, my hands stay on the ground. I'm going to bend my elbows back to 90 degrees. And as I do that, I'm slightly pulling my arms away from each other at the same time, okay? So I'm pulling slightly away, so I have that feeling of my lats or the side of my back working. And then I bring my elbows back to 90 degrees. I reach to my letter X, and I reach to my 90 degrees. Keep going there, and I'm going to do this exercise in seated so you can see what my arms are doing. So you're reaching to your letter X, and then you're pulling your arms to your 90. Now, when you do that, oh, that looks great, Fran. When you do that, you're not lifting your back at all, okay? Your back is staying in the same position. Your head is hovering maybe just a smidge off of the floor, and your arms are gliding back and forth on the floor. And the nice thing about this exercise is that it really supports the shoulders because you are pressing slightly with, for me, it's my thumbs,
into the floor as I slide back. I reach forward, my head is reaching, my spine is reaching, lots of space between the spine, and I come back and I reach my head away. Good. I'm gonna rest my forehead on my fists so I can lift my head for a moment a little bit, and I give everything a little wiggle, and I give my legs a little shake here, and everything gets a little wiggle. All right, we're gonna add the legs onto this next. All right, so we're gonna keep the band in the hands. I reach my hands away. I slide my hands back. I reach my head, and then I stretch my legs. My heels turn to look at each other just slightly, not too much, but just slightly. In this position, I slide my feet together a little bit, and then I reach again. Not lifting my head on the reach, just walking my hands out on the reach. I exhale, I bring this back. I inhale, I reach. I exhale, this comes back, and I lift one leg up. Doesn't matter which leg. Inhale, I put lots and lots and lots of space between the spine, between the vertebrae. I exhale, my head reaches away from my hips, my stomach grabs my spine, and I lift a leg. And I stretch this out. I exhale, I pull it back, head reaches away, heel reaches away, and my leg lifts. I inhale, I reach this out. I exhale, and I bring this back. Do this 2 more times on each side, and I'm going to grab my blanket here, so those of you who aren't on the K-wedge can see how this works. If you're on the towel as opposed to the wedge, I prefer if your feet were flat on the floor. So you're going to reach out, you're going to exhale, come in, stomach in, lift the leg. Be really careful not to lift the spine. Inhale, out you go. Exhale, stomach, spine, lift the leg. It's a lot harder. Inhaling. Exhale, stomach, spine, lift the leg, not the spine. Last time, inhale, reaching. Exhale, stomach, spine, lift the leg. Rest your forehead on your fingertips and give your hips a big swish here, a big swish. All right, so one more little back strengthening thing here. I'd like you to rest your forehead on your hands, and I'd like you to bend both knees. If you're on the wedge, your knees are on the floor. You've just turned your legs to look at the floor as opposed to the sides of the room, okay? Rest your head. It's fairly inactive. Make sure your cervical, your neck muscles are not going crackers in there. They're trying to calm down. And then from here, pull your stomach from your pelvis to your ribs, away from the wedge, away from the mat. Inhale, expand the ribs. Exhale, stay here. Inhale, expand the ribs, squeeze the glute, lift the leg, keep the ribs expanding. Exhale, down. Inhale, expand the ribs, squeeze the glute, lift the leg, keep those ribs expanding. Inhale, 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 exhale, down. Inhale, expand the ribs. Lift the leg, keep the inhale going, open those ribs, open the ribs, and down you go. Inhale, expand the ribs. Keep inhaling, inhale, lift the leg. We're alternating legs and back down. You have one more on each side. Inhale, expand the ribs. Lift the leg. And come back down. Inhaling, open up the ribs, lift the leg, and come back down. Straighten the legs and give your hips a little wiggle. Good job, everyone. Good, 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 good. From here, we're going to come to our child's pose. So come on up to all fours. Give your K-wedge a little swish out of the way. Fingers are going to reach slightly away from the shoulders. Give your tail a little wag. And by doing that, your toes go to one side of the mat, the toes go to the other side of the mat. Give it a little wag.
And then from here, stretching it out, pulling back. And then when you're here, give your tail a little wag. Good, coming forward. And again, back you go. Stomach off of the thighs, all the way from the hips, all the way to the ribs, off of the thighs. Good, give your head a little wiggle. There's no specific way to wiggle here, just give it a little shake. And then wag your tail both directions. Good, stay here, feet are in the middle, looking down at the mat. Inhale, open the ribs, especially on the side of the tide pool. Exhaling. Inhale, open the ribs on the side of the tide pool. Exhaling, last time. Inhale, open. Exhale, coming forward. Stretch the leg on the side of the tide pool. Push through that heel, but don't be too aggressive with this, right? So you don't want to like pop an Achilles here. Just push through that heel gently. We're not trying to touch the floor. We're just trying to give it a little reach. Take the opposite arm, give it a little reach. Go across your center line, give it a little reach. Take it down and give everything a little shake. And come back to seated. Okay, last thing with the arms. You are going to sit facing me and hands out in front of you. Give it a wiggle. Whew. Flip your fingers and they face me. Flip your wrists and they kiss. And flip and flip and flip and flip. Good job, everybody. You've got two more. There we go. And there we go. And there we go. And there we go. Good. Now hands on the knees. And I want you to give your head a little wiggle. Make sure everything is okay in there. And then from this position, I want you to just take a little head nod. I want you to first think that your spine is as long as you can get it, super long here. And then from here, just look down about 3 inches and look up about 3 inches. So what I'm doing is I'm looking at a spot on the floor that's about half a yard, half a meter in front of me. And then I'm looking up kind of like to the middle of the ceiling, not right over my head. And so I'm looking here and I'm looking there. And the whole time I'm trying to keep the spine really long and I'm trying not to move the spine as my head, as my neck moves. So I go here and I go there and I do 2 more. D, da, da, da. Last time, D, da, da, da. Arms are in our little tent shape. And we inhale. We take the shoulder girdle off of the rib cage, off of the spine, and we exhale it down. Wiggle it out. Last time. Inhaling. Lots of space. Exhaling down. And we wiggle it out. All right, everyone, you did it. That was class 50, Why Spines, and I will be sticking around for questions.